What's the craziest truth or dare challenge that you've ever seen performed? So when I was about 10 years old, I dared a friend to run his fingers through my dad's hair while he slept. He had to continue until my dad woke up and said something, and then he was only allowed to respond with, "My, you have a luxurious head of hair." Okay, this is absolutely hilarious. When I was in high school, a guy was dared to wear his hair in a mullet for a month. He was allowed to hair to grow out a bit, and then went to a salon and then had him do it up beautifully. He came to school every day with the top part nicely gelled and spiked up, and he properly washed and conditioned the back so it was shiny and flowing. He won $50 for doing it. He probably spent $50 between the hairstylist, hair products, and the time to get it ready every day. I was at a party years ago. I dared somebody to turn off the lights so I could get cozy with a girl. Instead of walking to the light switch, the crazy jumped onto the glass table in the middle of our group and then proceeded to jump up and grab the fan above it. The fan ripped right out of the roof and the fan landed on the glass table, which very quickly became a broken glass table. In his defense, we were all pretty drunk. When I was 14, I dared my friend to shoot a window out with my BB gun. It was one of those like super powerful BB guns, like a 10 pump. So he grabs the BB gun, points it right at my house, and shoots out the kitchen window. I screamed at him, "What the f? That's my house, you d-" He just started crying and got on his bike and he pedaled home. My mom was pissed. My parents ended up paying for it. Never told anybody that I dared him. Back in college, I played truth or dare with some friends, guys and girls, while drinking heavily. We have one friend, we'll call him H, who is one of those really creepy drunks. Like he becomes very overtly open and flirtatious and then just all around super weird and uncomfortable to be around. Anyways, at one point during the night, someone jokingly dares him to do a bear lap around the house. So he strips to the bone without hesitation and runs around the house unclothed. That is a little weird, but he did do what was asked of him without fighting it, so good on him, though, right? No, when he gets back inside, he just sits there with the rest of us, still stripped, not bothering to put his clothes back on. For the rest of the night, no matter what we were doing, he would randomly yell, "Bear lap," and do another one. He never put his clothes back on, even after like 10 naked laps. Even after truth or dare ended, it was very awkward. Also, his girlfriend was present throughout the whole ordeal, so that's when I found out they were into exhibitionism. After a late night movie run, some friends and I decided to play truth or dare at the deserted mall. We were on the second level above a play place, or daycare for younger children, and they dared me to jump into the ball pit. I thought it'd be fine because the jump was no more than 15 feet and I'd be cushioned for my fall. They actually removed them every night, and I had the ugliest bruise on my ass for weeks. Another time I went skinny dipping into a house that was supposedly still for sale. Somebody had already moved in, and he was a pastor. Fun. When I was in college, a whole bunch of my friends and I rented a cottage for the weekend. We decided, after playing a few drinking games, to play truth or dare. The dares were pretty lame, and I decided it was time to kick it up a notch. I began dishing out dares like 2 girls make out, girls get into bikinis and hop into the hot tub that was busted so the water was ice cold, and pulling crazy truths out of people. Eventually, it was my turn to be dared, and to be a good sport, I choose dare. The revenge was, you get makeover with eyeliner, blush, lipstick, and earrings. All the girls will cover you with lipstick kisses, and you must go home with this on your overprotective girlfriend like that. Needless to say, that was an awkward drive home for that weekend. In high school, I got dared to make myself pass out during class. I can make myself pass out, but only really done it once before this time on accident. And once I woke up to try and remember to scream out, "Not this again," and run out of the room. All they had to do was tell the sub that I fainted and try to get a crowd around me. Unfortunately, these friends hadn't seen anyone pass out before, so they thought that I died, and then they start freaking out. And that got the sub scared, so she called the principal, and when I awoke, I had no idea where I was, but thankfully remembered the first time I passed out and told the principal, "Oh, crap, it happened again." And I was escorted out of the room to the nervous office, and my parents were called. Yada, yada, yada. Next day, I won the respect of all the kids in that class once they found out that it was planned. And the kids that dared me gave me like $5 each. Grade 8 school dance. We were in a hallway because we're playing crappy songs, and we started the game of truth or dare. So I got dared to kiss the next teacher's shoes that came down the hall and worship them. So the music teacher, who would never had me as a student, walked down to check on us. And I knelt down and I bowed and I kissed his shoes, saying, "Mr. D, I am not worthy." He was like, okay. And he left. I guess we weren't kissing each other, so it was okay. My friend's parents were on vacation, so she threw a party that eventually led to a game of truth or dare. And it was my turn, so I picked dare, and this kid dared me to steal a car. I think I was a total badass at this point in my life, and I said, "I'm done." I ran into the kitchen where my friend's parents kept all their keys hanging on the wall, grabbed a pair, ran to the garage, not knowing which pair I grabbed. I hit that unlock button, and sure enough, the lights on her dad's brand new Cadillac flash. I jumped in, and I took off, just intending to go around the block once and safely bring it back. Maybe I was going a bit too fast, maybe it was the few cocktails I had prior to my little adventure, but sure enough, my dumbass hopped up a curb and wiped out a mailbox, cracking a headlight and put a nice sized dent in the hood. $1,400 in bodywork later, and it was good as new. except for the 20-ish extra miles in the car and us not thinking that her dad would write down the miles before they left. We still got busted, but at least not for the accident. The fact that you got it fixed and back to normal before they returned deserves an applause. I don't know how it got started, because it definitely wasn't a family game. There are some things that you don't want to know about each other, but my family ended up playing Truth or Dare around Christmas time. My grandparents were there, so also was my new brother-in-law. My mom dared me to run around the house barefoot in the snow, and I did so without any qualms. Upon my return, I got to dare my mother. I think she felt really guilty about making me run through the snow, or my grandparents got after her, so when I asked her to ballet dance to the dance of Sugar Plum Fairies from Nutcracker, she accepted. I thought it was hilarious, but she was supremely embarrassed. Even more so when she realized my sister and I recorded all of it. She begged us to delete it. We declined, but promised not to post it on YouTube. She came in private to me and begged again. I got a hold of my sister's camera for the sake of my mother's dignity, deleted what could have been an internet goldmine. Merry Christmas, Mom. I had to switch swimsuit bottoms with a girl, so she ended up in my shorts, and I was clad in a tiny gold bikini bottom that barely contained my manhood. To make things even more interesting, the next dare was to give another girl a lap dance. I made $8 from the ones that were jokingly thrown at me. We played Truth or Dare about a year ago, and I quickly learned the reason that you don't play this game as an adult is that nobody backs down. By the end of the night, the guys were in wigs with makeup and bras on, and the girls had guys' dirty socks on their hands and were wearing underwear on their heads. Some highlights included kissing a dead pheasant and private parts in prints in the snow. We had a lot of fun, though. Probably one of the best nights I've had. I was a bit hungover the next day, though. Walking in with my girlfriend into a busy shopping complex, we were passing a Boost juice. Not sure if it made it out of Australia, but it's basically a 10 by 10 meter stall that makes freshly squeezed juice. Anyways, she dared me to hop the barrier and pretend that I worked there. I jumped in and started barking orders to the girls, saying, "I need 2 strawberry squeezes and a mango bliss." And I thought it was kind of funny, but none of them laughed, leaving me to jump back over with my tail between my legs. Not my story, but I tell it pretty much every chance I get. When in college, I nearly joined a fraternity. 2 future frat brothers and I were playing some card game that involved drinking, and during a round of Never Have I Ever, this story came up. My future frat brother Jason kissed his best male friend. They were playing Truth or Dare, and he had dared 2 girls to kiss. The girls refused to do it unless the guys did it. So Jason and his Marine best friend made out in order to see 2 girls do the same. After telling us all this, his girlfriend freaks out and starts interrogating him as to who he's kissed and who he was attempting to convince to make out in return. Turns out, it was his 2 female cousins he convinced to make out with each other. Game over. We sent his ass home after that round. I had to eat a sundae of ketchup, horseradish, olive juice, banana, chocolate sauce, hot sauce, and various other found in the fridge. Yeah, I had to do this one about 3 times because everyone wanted to make a mixture. It wasn't very extreme, but I did almost throw up on some girl's 8-year-old sister. At a church get-together, I was dared to run through an intersection unclothed. Several of us did it, and when it was my turn, my bare ass was greeted by red and blue lights. I ended up crawling through a park and bushes with no clothes on and running through a neighborhood and getting bitten all over by fire ants. I have not played since. I invited this guy over for my birthday with all my friends, only because I felt bad for him because he was like a major dweeb, didn't have any other friends. We were playing I've Never, where you go around saying something that you've never done, and whoever has done the thing has to take a drink. This is like between 11 people in a circle, and everyone was listening, by the way. So it comes to his turn, and he's like, "I've never kissed a girl," and everyone just stares at each other, and we're like, "Okay, who wants to go play Guitar Hero now?" And we got up and we quit that terrible game. After a long night of drinking, a small 5-ish group of us decided to play Truth or Dare as the sun was coming up. At some point, I was dared to streak down 2 city blocks, so I did so in cowboy boots covered in mustard from an earlier dare. It was cold, I was bad at running due to drinking and smoking cigarettes all night, and I was pretty sure I was going to die. Alas, I lived, and I ended up with a brutal hangover later that morning. Wait, was the mustard, what was it from? Mustard Cake Day. Not me, but I know a man that won stealing dare, with the goal to steal the biggest thing possible. One guy stole a fridge full of ice cream, and the guy that won stole a forklift in a small aluminum store. They have them in my country, and they're near bus stations. This guy effectively stole half of a bus station. Both returned things back the next day, though. In middle school, my brother and I dared to jump down a flight of stairs. There's about 9 or 10 steps, and we'd seen it done before, but we thought, it wasn't a big deal. I went first and landed pretty hard, but nothing serious. And then when my brother jumped, he landed wrong, and he dislocated his ankle, and it messed up his arm pretty badly. To this day, he can actually pop his ankle in and out of its socket without feeling pain. It looks disgusting, and it freaks people out, though. I cringe when people ask him if he can do any cool party tricks. I lived in Colorado, and growing up, some friends and I were playing T&D in someone's hot tub just a night in the middle of December. There was at least 7 inches of snow out, but the weather was bliss in the 20 degrees Fahrenheit weather, until my brave Just got dared to run around the yard right then and there. Well, of course, I yeeted on out of there and bounced around, making my first lap. As soon as I rounded the finish to the second, almost all my leg muscles were cramping real bad. I could hardly move. So I basically dove back into the hot tub where I proceeded to nearly go into shock from going from freezing into hot. It goes hot, freezing, hot. It's just not good. So don't be dumb, kids.